Sharpen all the edges that I hide, I'm a liar. See my body licking up the flames from the fire. They can never kill me, so they seal me even tighter. Who remains without falling into strength? I'm a fighter, 50 in the faith. Take me higher, I'm a rise up on my demons like the tide. Blood moon, you in my eyes. Blood moon, white faint, light blue, my space night flame. Then we got into rooms, yeah. Sun breath hit my wrist, blade fall like the mistake. Cares like a peak, yeah. Malachite, turn to tarnish to a gray side, yeah. Kiss of death, but I miss the way it tastes like, yeah. Through the frenzy and the flame, I keep the honor beside me. This faith will abide me, we're burning the tree. Sharpen all the edges that I hide, I'm a liar. See my body licking up the flames from the fire. They can never kill me, so they seal me even tighter. Who remains without falling into strength? I'm a fighter, 50 in the faith. Take me higher, I'm a rise up on my demons like the tide. Blood moon, you in my eyes. War horse in the crypt, a nightmare, great sword on my hip, moving in my heart. I'm a rise up on my demons like the tide. Blood moon, you in my eyes. Don't wish the walls to talk. They scream until I left the room. Blood writing on the walls tells me I'm born inside a tomb. I don't cower, I just power back. Water breathing got me feeling like I swallowed glass. Form 11, lose a weapon, you don't see it. If you spy it, never try it, they can deflect. Tweet what I saw, but I'm grim when I don't see that curse on the corpse. I'm a scourge, I'm the worst. Before the falling, I could bear this burden. 100 days ago, I found my purpose. Sharpen all the edges that I hide, I'm a liar. See my body licking up the flames from the fire. They can never kill me, so they seal me even tighter. Who remains without falling into strength? I'm a fighter, 50 in the faith. Take me higher, I'm a rise up on my demons like the tide. Blood moon, you in my eyes. War horse in the crypt, a nightmare, great sword on my hip, moving in my heart. I'm a rise up on my demons like the tide. Blood moon, you in my eyes.
And all I want for Christmas is more wrestling.
Oh, look at you and your cover songs. Well done.
I appreciate it. The only way we cannot get demonetized.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, there's other ways, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Well, yeah, those are, you keep JBL and Adolfo here long enough, it's going to happen.
Oh, man.
Not that I'm much better, but I'm just saying.
Right. 2025 is about to get crazier than it already has.
Stay tuned in 2025 as we get demonetized completely. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. But speaking of staying tuned, hello, all you BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to the semi penultimate review for 2024. We still got 2 more things happening this year, but we're almost at the end of 2024. It's crazy out here.
It's the last of the SmackDowns and the last of WWE stuff, I believe. Right? There's one Saturday night thing. Oh no, am I crazy?
So Saturday night main event happened last week.
Right. Right, yeah.
Last weekend. And then we have 2 more Raws. Yeah, 2 more Raws and 2 more SmackDowns for 2024. But yeah, these are also the last 2 Raws and SmackDown that will be 2 hours, because then come 2025, Raw goes back to 3 hours, and then we got confirmation that SmackDown will also be going to 3 hours in 2025.
Which I know, because I'm reviewing it. It's a little more work on our end. Fine. This Raw we're reviewing today kind of needed 3 hours, and we'll talk about that, right? Because there's some moments here where it was like, oh, you rushed that, or this didn't quite work, or as long as they use it correctly and don't run into the same problems and try to overbook it, I think they're fine. But it definitely felt rushed to me in certain spots, and we'll talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. Raw and SmackDown. It was interesting.
Weird.
Raw was live.
I'm not crazy, right? It was just different. I don't know what's going on.
Raw was live, and then SmackDown was pre-taped, so that was the interesting bit. So we'll talk about all that. And this is going to be the last WWE review Dual Dynasty of 2024. We will be back with the shows the day before the Netflix premiere. So that's going to be interesting. So
I might have to come to you live from another country, so we'll see how that goes.
Ooh.
We'll see if I can do that all fancy pants style. But if not, I'll let you know. But we'll try. We'll see if it works.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm gonna need details on that, because that's news to me. Anyways,
Sorry, I should be more transparent. We'll talk about that.
It's all good, but we're just gonna kick things off like we normally do here. You know where to find us all over the social medias. At BC WrestlePod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We have YouTube. We have Twitch. We have an Instagram. We have pretty much anywhere and everywhere. Y'all know the drill. Go follow us on social medias if you want more shenanigans. Follow and subscribe to Twitch and YouTube if you like our current shenanigans. And let's just jump into it, because Raw is going to be really easy to go through, because I felt like they just concised everything that needed to be here. And I'm just going to run through the important bits. So it seems that we are getting CM Punk versus Seth Rollins a lot sooner than we originally thought. I thought this was going to be a feud leading into WrestleMania. It seems we might be getting this sooner or not, based on what kicked off Raw this past week, which is CM Punk and Seth freaking Rollins exchanging words, and then what WWE does best, and we have a pull apart brawl to end the segment. I'm just like, it is wild for sure.
Here we go. I'm muted. Yeah, I don't want to say we saw this coming, but Seth has been running his mouth for over a year, right?
He has made it no secret that he does not like the CM Punks.
CM Punk. I actually like, and I don't know if we were going to talk about this or not, the sort of Netflix kickoff live from Hanford, Connecticut thing they ran. That was really interesting to me, the way they did that. And of course, we all know how much is it work and how much isn't, but with those two, we're not entirely sure.
I mean, we could be like, it could go either way.
Yeah, which is kind of a cool place to be. And only a few wrestlers can pull that off, right? Drew McIntyre pulls that off. Seth and CM Punk, obviously. Roman Reigns, kind of, depending on the situation. But I'm much intrigued. And I actually know everything that happened on Raw, because they played all of Raw on SmackDown during the commercial box. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get to SmackDown when it comes to all that, but yeah, WWE, the more things change, the more they stay the same. It is crazy.
The older I get, they stay the same age. If you get that joke, good for you.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's what kicked off like the first 15 minutes of Raw, to be honest, is just them going back and forth and then them fighting each other. So throughout the evening, we get various backstage segments. So going in order, Judgment Day The fractions and the fractions between the group are still widening. It seems
All
that we're
the improper fractions of this group. Sorry, keep going.
the implosion of the Judgment Day is coming very soon, in my opinion, especially what happened after our main event. But, you know, we have Finn and JD on one side, Dominic, Liv, and Raquel on the other, and Carlito is just caught in the middle. He's just there to play video games.
I don't know. I don't want to dwell on this too much because it doesn't deserve all of our time, but if they were going to blow it up, they should have blown it up 6 months ago, right? They've done this weird slow death of the Judgment Day thing and kind of took all the air out of it. At least I haven't watched a lot of Raw. That's just how it feels from way out here looking in.
I mean, you're not necessarily inherently wrong when it comes to this because they have been giving this story to us for quite some time on Raw.
Sure,
but I would be remiss to say I would not be surprised. Netflix Raw, we finally get this is it. But I can also see them dragging this out a little bit longer, which we'll put a pin in that for now. We'll come back to it when we talk about the main event of this week's Raw, because now, Finn's obsession has now gone and costed Judgment Day championships. More on that in a little bit. Backstage, Seth is talking with Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce. He is irate. He wants a match. So it is made official for the Netflix premiere of Raw. We are getting CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins. I'm like, all right, well, we're just getting this match out the way to start off the year. This is going to be good. And then Seth Rollins has a conversation with Drew McIntyre. Drew is trying to appeal to Seth, saying, hey, I understand where you're coming from. Me and you, we're not quite that different, because now Drew is on a mission to take out everyone of the original bloodline, which is Roman, the Usos, and Sammy. And he took care of Sammy at Saturday night's main event. And basically he says, tell Seth, if you need help, I got you. And Seth's like, bro, we're not the same. I was like, I like people. I liked my friends. I helped Cody get the title with my friends and Jay and with Sammy. So nah, we're good. I was like, you're on your own with that one. Spoiler alert, I believe we will be seeing that change come the new year. So that's going to be fun. So then we finally get into our first match of the evening, which was one of two championship matches for Raw. This was an Intercontinental Championship match, Bronze Breaker, as we call him, versus Ludwig Kaiser. These two just decimated each other.
The highlights look ridiculous. Like, damn.
Braun is so much fun. I love the fact that he was selling his arm like a babyface tends to do, which also begs the question of like, so can we safely say that Braun is a babyface, at least maybe a tweener of some sort? Yeah, we flipped him back because he was leaning towards face. Then he went back to heel after he attacked, Jay.
Yeah.
Then he's kind of face now. I don't know. It seems that if I prefer Braun Breaker as a tweener babyface, if you will, because I like it.
I want to see him. I don't know. I've seen his matches. I haven't heard him on the mic. I think to be a really good face, you got to be pretty good on the mic. Like, you still got to get me captivated and interesting. If you're a heel, you could be a jerk and you could mail it in, but you got to be great on the mic. And I don't know if he's there yet.
Right.
Am I too out of pocket, or is that about right?
No, you're about right.
Okay.
So this was a phenomenal match. Braun Breaker does retain the championship, so he will be going into 2025, still our current IC champion, which I am okay with. Backstage, the fallout of New Day's decision to take a verbal dump on Big E is affecting their standing in the locker room, because then Kofi and Xavier arrive to try to enter the locker room, and Rey Mysterio comes out and tells them that they're not allowed there. Kofi tells Rey he can't believe that Rey doesn't have their back. Rey said that they crossed the line with how they treated Big E, and then they need to find another place to change. Thus, the New Day are continuing to be pushed out from the roster. And to have Rey Mysterio as the figurehead was an interesting choice, but I'm loving this. They made the decision, and so now we are seeing the fallout of, oh yeah, the rest of the locker room is not happy with them right now.
I kind of like them seeing them getting the Miz treatment a little bit, like changing, janitor closets or whatever else, and see what that actually does for this storyline. I'm late to it because I don't watch Raw like I should, so I caught up on clips and other things like that. I'm really happy for E going in to kind of help get this all over because it's wild. And to see them flip the switch and do it so beautifully is really cool. And I think that leads them someplace interesting. That not that they've been stuck. They've been great for 10 years, but now in 2025, it's like, oh, we got stuff to do. I still really want to see, Austin Creed do his own thing, but that's never probably going to materialize. But I'm interested. I want to see what happens. This could be fun.
Oh, it is. I'm enjoying it. Speaking of things I also enjoy, we get a quick recap of what happened at Saturday night's main event and the actual main event, which was Cody versus Kevin. Everything that transpired after the show went off the air, Kevin Owens delivering a pile driver to Cody and then taking the Wing Championship. And then also, if you haven't seen the social media videos, KO and Triple H get into a physical fight, which was crazy to watch. Like, they begin pushing each other.
I love that the whole internet thought, oh, this is Triple H's comeback. It's like, no, you guys, he can't do it. He can't go. He cannot do it.
I'm like, y'all need to relax. But hey, I actually enjoyed the little shove match that the two were
No, it was cool.
into.
And it's a lovely idea, right? But there's got to be a little bit of, hey, pump the brakes, guys. He would die. Like, his heart, he can't.
No, we want to keep Triple H around as long as we possibly can. But speaking of almost dying, we also get word that Cody Rhodes, after the pile driver and having to be stretched out on a stretcher into the ambulance, is currently at home resting, and that there's no injury, like damaging injuries to his neck or whatever. So this is good, which means I'm like, at this point of the week, when I was watching Monday Night Raw, I'm like, I'm hoping Kevin Owens is running around SmackDown this Friday telling us that he is the champion with that wing belt and just saying that he's going to put this thing on the line. And SmackDown delivered when they answered my question that Friday. I'm just like, oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah, I kind of wanted more. I kind of wanted something live, but that wasn't going to happen. There's something awesome. I haven't watched it. Apparently there's, I forgot his name. He does a breakdown of the pile driver that Kevin Owens gave to Cody. It looks so devastating, terrifying, but it's probably the safest way to do that. Just the way he's it's like he's in a kid's safety seat in the back of the car and just like that looked terrifying. But when you really look at it, you're like, oh, that's safe. But the way I think this is fun. I think it's kind of a hard sell for me as Kevin Owens, always turns his back on his friends. And we said that a year ago, and now he's turned his back on all his friends. I'm okay with that. I think it could be a little stronger, but we'll see where this actually goes. Kevin as a heel is still that I'm going to wink at the audience heel. He even winked at the audience on SmackDown, where it's sort of like, but I'm the bad guy, right? Wink, and then walks away. I don't hate that either. It just comes off more as a troll than it does Kevin the heel, right?
Right. Oh my goodness. I love it. And when we get to the SmackDown, we'll talk more about KO, because I'm like, this is going to be fun. So we also get an announcement. Well, we get like another reconfirmation from last week, but we are getting Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa in Tribal Combat on the Netflix premiere of Raw. So that should be interesting. Hopefully it goes better than when Roman and Jay did it at SummerSlam 2 years ago, because Lord knows that match was not great, and we talked about it.
I mean, low bar to cross, but I feel like they could find a way.
Speaking of low bars, we have Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez come out for this basic ass promo of I'm better than you. I've beaten the women's roster. I did like the touch where she got on the megaphone. I was like, can you just have the megaphone for the rest of your championship run? Because I feel like the prop would be so much fun. Just interrupting people yelling in their faces with the megaphone would be great. I love that Dominic is still getting booed out the building, which is fantastic.
They're going to crush him forever.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, this is your basic. I am a champion. I have beat every woman. No one can come close to me. And then, of course, inevitably, it was interrupted by "This is my brutality," which we know. Rhea Ripley comes out and basically she tells Liv that I love what she says at the end. I'm gonna start writing quotes of things that wrestlers say throughout the week, and we're gonna have a quote thing for our shows in 2025.
2025 quote board. That's actually a really good idea.
Quote board.
That's a really good idea.
I love it just because of the random things wrestlers says. But she basically tells Liv that she is the number one contender now, which at this point of the night, we weren't sure when this match was going to be confirmed, but we can now confirm that there's going to be a title match on the Netflix premiere of Monday Night Raw. So that is happening in 2 weeks. And the quote that I have down and that I laughed so hard at this is Rhea Ripley calling Dominic Mysterio, Liv's chicken tendered slut. I was like, oh my God.
Good line. It's a very good line.
I was laughing so hard. I was like, this is gonna be a fun run. So that sets up something else. We continue to get Seth Rollins drama backstage with CM Punk. Drew McIntyre looks like he was about to attack Seth, but then Sami Zayn comes in like Bruce Lee kick out of nowhere to stop him. So they begin fighting. So it seems that Drew and Sami are not going to be quite done yet, which then leads into Final Testament and Miz still wanting to go after the Wyatt Six. So Miz has a match with Dexter Lumis. And, Miz unfortunately is being held hostage by the Final Testament to do all this, which then leads us into our next match. This is another qualifier match for the women's IC tournament. This saw Raquel Rodriguez versus Zoe Stark versus Kaden Carter. Spoiler alert, Zoe Stark does pick up the victory here. So she moves on to the next round where she will be facing Dakota Kai in the next coming weeks to see who goes to the finals. But we are not quite done with this yet because after it seems that Alpha Academy will be going to be feuding with American Made again next week. Kairi Sane gets attacked backstage by the Pure Fusion Collective, aka Team Scissor Kick, as we see them smashing Kairi's hand into a rolling case. And to me, that screams, oh, so this is how we're going to put EO in this tournament. Because my biggest question after Saturday night's main event, after Liv beat EO clean, I might add, at Saturday night's main event, where do we go with EO for now? So with Kairi getting attacked, I'm like, I would not be surprised if Kairi gets replaced with EO. So,
yeah, I think they're just trying to get stuff moving quickly, I guess. I don't hate it. I haven't watched enough of it to go yay or nay. It does feel a little forced, but it's, I don't hate it.
I don't either. And by the time we come back from commercial with all of this, we get into our main event. I was like, well, damn, this went by fast. It's a World Tag Team Championship match where the stipulation is Judgment Day is barred from ringside per Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce. And this is the Judgment Day of Finn Balor and JD McDonough defending their titles against the War Raiders of Eric and Ivar. Commentary made me laugh in here because they mentioned that this was the 175th day of Finn and JD's reign as World Tag Team Champions. And this is their only their third title defense of this one. And I'm just like, I swear if the War Raiders do not win tonight, I'm going to look at Triple H with the side eye more than I normally do. I'm like, Hunter, what are we doing? But lo and behold, thank goodness, the match was really fun. I think the War Raiders, I'm so happy that they are back, especially after watching the Chris Van Vliet interview with Ivar. and not knowing if he was going to be able to come back and wrestle because he broke down the story of when he injured his neck.
Crazy story. He still has nerve pain in his hands. He still struggles every day with his arm. Like, it's wild, the clips I read about that.
Exactly. Shout out to Chris Van Fleet. I know he doesn't know who we are, but I love his interviews. They are fantastic. And I love watching all the promotions talents go on there. But this match was a lot of fun. Towards the end of this, it looked like JD was distracting the refs, so Finn can pull what he normally does and do shenanigans with the chair. But to lo and behold, the king of the streets himself, Damian Priest, prevents Finn from doing so and, busts him upside the head for it, which then has Finn get back into the ring, and the War Raiders pick up the victory. I love their finisher. The winners and your new World Tag Team Champions, the War Raiders. And it is all because Damian Priest stopped Finn from doing shenanigans. So we're going to come back to the pin I put into the Judgment Day Clubhouse earlier in the Raw recap, because now this is where we're going to talk about it. I think this is now where we see the final crescendo chapter of the ultimate downfall of Finn Balor being ousted from Judgment Day, because now he has a reason to go get back at Damian and, Liv, Dominic, and Raquel be like, you lost the titles. What were you doing? Like,
yeah, I don't like I was saying earlier on, and that's why we put a pin in it. I just feel like they just slow burn this way too long. If we were going to have this turn, I know part of it's because Rhea got sick. I know part of it was because something happened with Damon in 24. I can't remember either. So yeah, the timeline got stretched out. Fine. It just feels, it got to make me care somehow. Like, what is the Judgment Day stand for? What does it mean that they disappear? What's on the line for Finn or anyone else? You got to make me, I don't mind seeing Finn Damian, right? Like, that still has enough umph to it, but sort of, why does the Judgment Day matter if Rhea and Damian aren't in it? Like, what gives me the reason to stay, sort of thing.
Right. Well, and of course, we still have our window of the trade window open, so I would not be surprised by the end of once we get settled into the Netflix debut and the first couple of shows of 2025. We'll figure out who ends up where, so we'll cover that as we get more information with it. But let us move on from the red brand on Mondays to the blue brand on Fridays, because now we are in the Smacketh of Downs, which we mentioned at the top of the show was pre-taped from last week. So thank goodness no one on the internet spoiled anything for me. So this is good.
That's honorable. I was kind of waiting for it all week.
Right. So, okay. We're just going to start out by saying this. I think this was a very light show in terms of story development.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely felt like this was taped at times. Byron Saxton, somebody needs to tell you that if it's pre-taped stuff, you got to wear the same outfit, because we saw him in 2 different outfits.
I was going to ask about that. I had a moment where I was like,
sir, like, I know that we're traveling and everything, but damn, bro, like we gotta figure it out.
Solo starts the show with the most half-hearted blah promo ever.
Right.
He doesn't even say the name of the town. Did you hear this?
I was like,
SmackDown, acknowledge me. It's like, wait, aren't you? Hang on. And then 45 minutes later, somebody else goes, Harvard, Connecticut. It's like, yeah, there's the town. What are we doing? Come on.
This was so weird. Yeah,
just boring. McIntyre saved him.
No, exactly. And honestly, I think that's what it was. Solo was just out there, and then Drew McIntyre comes up, and basically, he's coming after every member of the original bloodline, which includes Solo Sikoa, and that Drew McIntyre will get his reckoning one day. And then Jimmy comes out of nowhere with the crutch. I always wince anytime someone gets smacked with the crutch. I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt. I've been hit with the crutch once or twice in my lifetime. Those things hurt.
Why'd you get hit with a crutch?
That is for another time. I will tell you afterwards.
Oh my god. Oh, Mikey out in these streets picking fights with crutch people. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. It's probably way cooler than that. He broke that crutch. Did you see?
Exactly. I was like, what is happening? I was like, Did Drew do something backstage, Jimmy? Because there's a lot of hostility, more so than what the scene is calling for.
Mm-hmm. I think Drew kind of saved this whole intro, this whole promo at the top, because energy-wise, it was just dying from the beginning. I'm not sure why, if it was travel or end of the year or whatever, but it just kind of rang hollow. The idea of Drew now going to assassinate everybody just to eventually get 2 solos kind of interesting to me. But also we're parlaying McIntyre solo.
Right.
And it just came, it just feels like it came from out of not out of nowhere, but I don't know if I need or want that. There's so many other things going on.
Right. And I agree with you. I think Drew definitely saved this segment and then everything that transpired afterwards, which then leads us into our first match of the evening. This was the Bloodline, which is, currently soloed, Tama and Jacob taking on the team of LA Knight, Andrade, and Apollo Crews of all people. I was like, where has he been?
Those 3 run into the ring and jumping in at the same time. Whew, damn. That was something else.
I love this. And you know what? This match I thought was a pretty good open match.
Yeah.
Well, I wish that we didn't get like half of this in a full ad break and picture-in-picture. I'm like,
oh man,
USA Network, what are we doing?
Yeah, because we waited 20 minutes before the first match started. So we were at like 22, 23 minutes before we even got to here. And then it ran 2 minutes. We had a 4-minute commercial. And then it ran 3 minutes. We had a 4-minute commercial. And then it ran 3 minutes and we had a picture-in-picture. It's like,
what are we doing?
I was really kind of excited to see how well LA Knight and Andrade work together. Apollo Crews is always amazing, right? But the 2 of them working together was really interesting. Not that any of them want a faction or want a tag or whatever else, but the 3 of them together, just 3 jack dudes wrecking house. That was fun. I kind of liked that.
I enjoyed it too. And then I also found it interesting too, because towards the end of this match, Solo and the team pick up the victory, but it's because we had a run-in from Shinsuke who attacked LA Knight and then, allowed Solo to hit the Samoan spike for the win. And then we get a stare down between Shinsuke and Solo. I was just like, maybe later, but I feel like we still have things we can do with LA Knight, but who knows?
Is Shinsuke going to join the Bloodline? Is that what this is going to be? And he's going to be the new tribal chief?
I hope not. I feel like Shinsuke. I don't want that personally because I feel like Shinsuke is good enough on his own.
I don't really want that. I'm just sort of looking at, oh God, that would be a McMahon wet dream right there. Just to go put Shinsuke in the Bloodline. Now the really evil. Yeah. Oh God.
I was like, I'm loving this JoJo Bizarre Adventure-esque version of Shinsuke Nakamura. You cannot tell me any different. The way he walks down and poses, I'm like, that is a JoJo villain right there.
You're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong.
And we just need him to do the over-the-top fashion as well, like the JoJo characters dress.
I haven't thought of that in so long. That might be my break, is rewatching some of that.
Gosh, so good. But I'm interested to see. I'm Solo versus Shinsuke in a feud. I want that later, not now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we still got life left with LA and even Andrade versus Shinsuke.
We just talked Drew for 5 minutes before this. Like, you're stacking a bunch of stuff up. You know that Shinsuke's out there. You're doing the long-term storytelling that they like to talk about. Fine. I'm not sure where this LA Knight Shinsuke is going to go. I'm not sure what titles they want to push or don't want to push. But now that you have Saturday Night Main Event, which is going to be a thing, I mean, maybe you do have to throw these around. I'm saying all this to say this. This is, to me, a symptom of we need a 3-hour SmackDown. Not that we want to watch a 3-hour SmackDown, but if you want to actually delve into all these different rabbit holes, you just need more time.
Which we're getting in 2025.
Right.
So I will not complain about a 3-hour SmackDown if we use those 3 hours effectively. Because my biggest complaint with Raw for 3 hours is that we didn't have a lot of substance in that third hour. It was a drag. So if everything is paced, where we could do segment, match, like that is fine.
And don't give me these, the first match should not start 25 minutes into your thing.
Right.
I basically watched all of Saturday Night Main Event during SmackDown because they replayed it like 30 times.
Okay, let's take a side trip on that.
Really go ahead.
So I didn't get a chance to do so as much last week, but I mean, overall, I still enjoyed Saturday Night Main Event. Shout out to Kilty Boy, for joining me on the watch along for that one. But
is Ventura back?
So okay, I don't know. So I know they had him on commentary just for that. I think he has a Legends deal with WWE, but he's not like. Anyways, but the point being is that I enjoyed Saturday Night's Main Event, but it definitely, because it was airing on NBC as well, it definitely is like you try to cram 5 matches in 2 hours, so everything was so quick paced. And even on Peacock, I was like, why am I watching my main event with commercials? Like, it was wild. But overall, I really enjoyed it. But, speaking of Saturday Night's Main Event, after Alex Shelley and the Motor City Machine Guns give their history about Johnny Gargano backstage, we do get like you said, we got a bunch of recap packages of SmackDown. So it's basically like, if you didn't watch Saturday Night's Main Event, here you go. One of the highlights for me, though, is that Chelsea Green is our inaugural Women's United States Champion. Her and Michin put on a really great match at Saturday Night's Main Event. I think that was that, and then the triple threat for Gunther's title are probably my 2 favorite matches.
Yeah, I'm happy for her. I love that. I mean, Michin looked like she was killing it, too. I haven't watched the match, I'm admitting, but just the clips of it and stuff that I saw, the crowd was in it. So
the crowd loved the match. The crowd was so behind Chelsea. The way that Chelsea won the title, too. Just that counter into the unprettier was a thing of beauty. And, I'm so happy that she is our first ever Women's United States Champion. And then we also see an exclusive interview saying that it's her time and that what she's been through in the last couple of years, which then we also get a recap of Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, with Kevin Owens stealing the Winged Championship, which then leads into Kevin Owens into a cutaway with him talking about this. And he says what happened was not his fault. He blames WWE's management for what happened, claiming he was screwed out of the title. And what happened to KO was a travesty, a tragedy, and that he should be champion. He's not, but he took the Winged Eagle belt, and he's keeping it until he gets what he wants. And the fun part about this is KO says that he hasn't snapped yet, but it could be much worse. What happens next is on WWE and WWE management. I'm like, yes, Kevin Owens, threaten me with a good time. I'm interested. This is interesting. This was an interesting approach.
I love that Kevin Owens isn't in the Twitter rant phase. Everything he said was just angry rant gibberish. Like, what has happened to you? But like I said at the top, it just comes off more to me like a troll than it does an actual heel face, Kevin Owens,
right?
Because he does that meta wink at the audience thing better than anyone else. He just does. So I'm trying to disassociate a wee bit, but I get it. But doing the dueling RKOs in that match and everything else he's doing is fun, and he knows it. And I want to know when he snaps. Like, how are you going to raise the bar even higher? Like, what are you going to do to show me that you've snapped, Kevin Owens? Are you going to there's a whole bunch of ridiculous scenarios you could think of. I kind of wish this was live. I know it's taped. I get it. I would have loved to see him on the mic doing that live because the heat he would have gotten. I just think that would have been so much fun. But
absolutely.
End of the year, Christmas time. He's probably with family. He's probably hanging out with his mom like he should be. I get it.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's breeze through this next part because this next part of the show definitely was the slog to get through, but it's time for everyone's favorite talk show, the Grayson Waller Effect.
Oh man,
with Jack Santa Claus Braun Strowman. I'm like, so
I don't. Okay, it's one thing to have these talk shows things, and I've already talked about how I don't like them. And the whole Grayson Waller heel thing, I've come to warm up to, and I get it, and it's fine. Braun had no charisma with them.
This was rough to watch.
And like they weren't even trying. And I get it. It was like, hey, I'm going to be dismissive and not like you. Okay, you got to play the segment a little, or it just comes off weird.
And in my opinion, just like Drew saved the solo stuff, Carmelo Hayes kind of saved this segment too.
Yeah.
Because Carmelo Hayes has the charisma on the mic.
A wild Carmelo Hayes appears, and I was like, wait, why is he here? But then I was immediately more interested in what he had to say than what was going on.
Right.
I kind of wanted them to fight on the Grayson Waller set. Didn't you?
Yeah.
Because Grayson Waller going, we just spent a lot of money on this set and this thing. In my head, I was like, oh, we're going to fight on the set. We're going to fight on the Grayson Waller
Let them fight on the set. It'd be hilarious.
And
no.
and it started, we're throwing the palm trees. I was like, oh, this is going to be a palm tree match. Yeah. Like, I was all fired up for that. And then we cut to commercial. We come back. Everything's gone. It's like, okay.
It's like, all right, fine. Which does lead us into our next match, Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Strowman. Okay, so I actually like this match, and the reason why I like this is one, I laughed so hard with Carmelo being launched out of the ring. Sold that beautifully. But I also love that Carmelo Hayes is not above winning by shenanigans because he wins via a count out.
It's so funny. I was watching this with my son, and that confused look on his face was kind of amazing. He was like, wait, what? Yeah, they count to 10. No, I know, but no one ever. I know, right? Weird. I thought they actually worked really well together. I thought it was fun watching the no selling of Braun versus Carmelo just trying to do anything David and Goliath style. I actually kind of don't get me wrong. I would love to see Carmelo Hayes and Andrade 15. Like I have no problem running that back forever because those were fun. I kind of like Carmelo going after wrestlers twice his size. There's something funny and interesting to that to me. Just sort of like, you have no chance. Go win by shenanigans. I think that could be fun for him and kind of gives him something more to do than just get stuck in mid-card purgatory, which he isn't. I mean, it took him, I don't know, maybe 6 months before we really got the momentum with the Andrade thing and we really got this LA Knight angle to go. Not that I need to see him and Braun Strowman every week, but I like Braun Strowman. I don't see enough of him over on SmackDown. It's been a while. So this was fun. It kind of showcased both of them. The fact that Braun Strowman just shot puts him up and over the top rope like it's nothing is like, right. Oh my God.
And then, of course, unless we get something next week, this is the first time where we don't have a Christmas themed street fight on one of these shows, which I kind of want. I missed that. I hope we get a Christmas street fight on Raw or something.
There's got to be one Christmas tree lot still out there somewhere that they could just shoot a match in. It's got to be out there somewhere.
Right. That'd be amazing. So from here, we cut backstage. We see Nia and Candice LeRae getting ready for the tag team championship match. Tiffany comes in. She wishes them good luck. And then Nia and Candice, well, specifically Candice, and then Nia joins in, pulls the, oh, you can't sit with us vibes, and basically tells Tiffany she needs to sit out this one and she should not come out to ringside. Spoiler alert, she does not listen. We'll talk about that when we get there. But the theme of these backstage segments for SmackDown this week was, no, you can't be at ringside with us tonight. Like, that was a running theme.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the Motor City Machine Guns promo, which was terrible. I'm not sure why.
I was so mad. I was like, so Alex, the Motor City Machine Guns are so much better than what we got. I was like, I don't know if it was them. I don't know if it was, the way that they set it up.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard Alex on the mic before just tearing people apart, and this one just came off blah.
I know. This. I'm like, come on, WWE. I know how great they are just because I'm like the one of 3 people that watch TNA here.
So that was unfortunate. And then, this promo too was a little, man, yeah, you can't come. We got this. Okay, bye. Like, all right, but you didn't give me anything to care about. Okay. Yeah, but we get into this later. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about one of my favorite parts here. So we go to commercial break after this. We come backstage after we get some signs of the night that were happening in SmackDown. We see cut backstage where Carmelo Hayes is running away from Braun because
Oh, that's
Braun
so
is on
good.
the move. Santos Escobar is no snitch. Angel tries to misdirect him, and Pretty Deadly wants, a look. Pretty Deadly want to look at their musical before Carmelo blindsides Braun with the steel chair. So Pretty Deadly were the distraction in all of this, which was fantastic.
So funny.
And he runs off with Braun Strowman chasing him away one more. I want this to be a theme. With Braun and Carmelo being at 1-1, I kind of want this feud to continue.
Can this Tom and Jerry thing go for months?
Yes!
Just him walking around and Carmelo's always poof, and then runs away like the whole time.
Yes! I want
that-
this. So SmackDown, give me what
so
I
good.
want. This is fantastic.
Oh, you just need to play the music underneath, and like just crazy things happening. Like no one can fix it. I kind of love Pretty Deadly. Finally seeing Pretty Deadly for the first time in like 2 months. Like, oh, there you are. You're just
I'm
waiting for your
starved.
musical.
I'm starved of our boys are Pretty Deadly. Like, I love them so much.
They had an opportunity when it was them and Tiffany, and it was going to be great. And then they just kind of.
I'm hoping that whenever Tiffany cashes this in, that they reunite those three. Like, I think those three would be fantastic.
I think that would be hysterical.
Oh, that'd be amazing. So then we get into our next match of the evening, or semi match of the final match of the evening, which is Johnny Gargano versus Alex Shelley. Technical wise, I knew that these two were going to do really good because, I mean, it's Alex Shelley and Johnny Gargano. I really love this. And aside from the goofy finish, I do love seeing that we are actually having a substantial feud in the tag team division with the Motor City Machine Guns and DIY. I'm excited for when the Profits come back into this storyline and just decimate everybody. Because we still don't know. The Profits were attacked. And they still owe their tag team championship match. I also love that the commentary also was playing up on Johnny and Alex Shelley's history, especially on the independents, because underneath a certain other person's leadership, that would never have came up. So I love that we are mentioning other places. Like when Michael Cole mentioned New Japan, I was like, oh, what? What's this? We're mentioning other places? That's crazy.
And I think that's Papa H leaning on sports instead of the sports entertainment, right? It gives us this idea of, like they're doing all sports. In football, they talk about where'd you play in college, or in baseball, they talk about where were you in the minor leagues, or where were you on this team, that team, or where was this run, or who you came up with all the time. So I think him leaning on that more is smart. It gives you more of that kayfabe. This is a sport thing, which is kind of what you want. It keeps you from going pure entertainment, which can poke holes in its own rabbit hole, and we can talk about that. That's for another episode. I thought this match was a lot of fun. They were great together, obviously. Some of those kicks were very flush and very much painful, it looked like to me. Alex got him outside the ring. Gargano was walking into it and got him right in the side of the head. Poof, like, oh, Jesus. I thought they were great. I did think the finish was a little ho-hum, like, okay. I've never seen this before. Yeah, so fine. I kind of wonder where we're going, like you said, because I think a Street Profits angle would be fun here. It's made me care. I care more about it now than I did a month ago when it was still like, be my friend. Let's not be my friend. Now we've pulled the trigger. We have something to do.
For reals. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. So we get a video package that's that highlighted parts of the Raw on Netflix kickoff event that we were talking about a little bit. Logan Paul's going to be on that episode of Monday Night. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I was like, sure, fine.
Fine. Just fine.
I'm going to clip the professor's reaction because he is just expressing how we all feel. Anyways, we're moving on from that. I did like this moment, though, because backstage we are with Bianca and Naomi talking about, Jade being attacked. Naomi filling in to help defend the titles against Nia and Candice. And this is just subtle storytelling that I love, just because the betrayal, if it probably is going to be Naomi, is going to hurt even more, and I love it. Bianca is offering Naomi to hold one of the titles, and Naomi's like, no, not until she's earned it by winning the match tonight. I'm like, oh god, my heart is gonna tear when it's revealed to be Naomi.
Oh, and the other part where she was like, I will never turn my back on you ever. And just smiley look right as it's like, oh, it's you, isn't it? It's you. I know it's you.
And if it ends up being Naomi, like, I know people are like, oh, they show their cards all the once, and I'm like, but sometimes that's okay. Like, I'm okay. Because it's just gonna hurt even more, and I'm a glutton for punishment. Apparently,
they can get away with this as long as someone else shows cards too.
Yes.
Right? Now we need a Bailey. Now we need someone else. Now we need a few more of these so we get that pure whodunit thing, and that's gonna take time depending on how they want to do this. Or if Jade has amnesia and doesn't remember, or whatever angle we're gonna play.
Listen, amnesia is not my favorite trope, but if you talk to me about it done right, like in some of my favorite video games and other media, amnesia done right can work. You just need to take the time and effort.
Doesn't remember anything, doesn't know who her best friends were. You could do a whole manipulation angle for a long time. You play that right.
And again, not comparing promotions, but like if we're looking at Miss Toni Storm in AEW, that seems what we're doing right now with her. And so far it's working. If you put the time and the effort into it, it's going to work.
I'm not caught up on that. It makes me sad because I like Tony to understand.
I'll fill you in afterwards because it's getting really great.
All right, good.
But we get into our main event of SmackDown this week, which is a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. The challengers being Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, taking on our team of Bianca Belair and Naomi, still Black Girl Magic. So, just a couple of notes for this. I thought this was a really fun main event. I love, shout out to Nia Jax. She got busted wide open on this match. I was like, girl.
Here, I was trying to find out where it happened. It happened somewhere near the turnbuckle, near the LED thing, it looked like. It got her good.
I'm like, homegirl was actually bleeding. I was like, all right then.
Of course, my wife, this is the match my wife tunes in on and looks at. She goes, that is a large woman. It's like, yeah, she big. Yeah, she's up there.
So I thought this was a really fun match. I love that Naomi and Bianca
formidable. My wife is
formidable. Bianca and Jade were great. Naomi and Bianca have chemistry. So that
was great.
That in the deepest depths of my soul, that was one of the things I was worried about. I was worried that Naomi and Bianca somehow, and I don't know why I thought this, but wouldn't have chemistry together, but they do. So I was like, okay, I'm not worried about it. And then again, Bianca and Naomi are been in this business for a while now, so they are used to everything. And I love that Naomi earned her right to hold that championship. The only critique I had was Tiffany coming out at the very end. And for me personally, that hits the trifecta of why did we do these segments earlier? Yeah. But otherwise, I thought this was I love this match that sees our new champs with Naomi and Bianca. Naomi earning the right to hold one of those in James' absence. And I enjoyed this match from beginning to end.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a great way to end a main event for sure. I thought they were going to get rocked for time because by the time this started, there wasn't a lot of time left. I don't have a timestamp on it, but I remember looking at it and be like, oh man, they better move. This is going to be rough. I hope they don't. But no, they got the full, like a good 10, maybe even over 10-minute block to really work here, which was great. I'm surprised Nia and Chelsea had so much chemistry. Like they did really well together.
Yeah. And you know what? I would not be mad if we continue to have, since they let Indy Hartwell go, which I'm still mad at WWE for, but I wouldn't mind seeing Candice continue to be around Tiffany and Nia. Yeah.
Candice, I thought they had a really interesting evil chemistry together, which I thought was really cool. And such a dynamic too between the two of them. Like I thought that was really kind of fun to see.
Well, on top of that too, what I would love is that if they utilize Candice to kind of be the catalyst for Tiffany becoming more and more face and eventually cashing in on Nia and
then we see Candice play both of them like Johnny Gargano just did. Oh, yes. Look, they're an evil power couple, and then we get an angle like that.
Yeah, I love it so much. And
That would be
in a
cool,
weird
too.
way, I trust. In a weird way, I trust SmackDown more than I do Raw through this. But who knows? We'll
Because
see
it's a
what
soap
happens.
opera. SmackDown is the
Exactly.
soap opera.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that pretty much covers WWE this week. I thoroughly enjoyed the programming this week. And this is crazy. So we have 2 more Raws of 2024, but this upcoming Friday is the final SmackDown of 2024. Because then
There
when we
is
come
one more
back,
SmackDown. Oh, man.
yes. So the final SmackDown of 2024 is this Friday, and we have 2
Oof.
more Raws until Netflix in 3 weeks.
Wow.
And it's crazy looking back at 2024 in terms of WWE, just because of the major stuff that has gone on. And I mean, outside of this product and watching the TV shows, I think probably the 3 biggest things that probably occurred this year, if we really wanted to talk about it really quickly, is The Rock being part of the TKO, like major shareholders, which was kind of crazy to think about. And then on top of that too, so that was announced on the 23rd of January. So going back all the way to the beginning of the year. And then 3 days later is when we get Vince's resignation from the company and everything that transpired from all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
and
The
Rock
Rock
is still going. That
is still going.
Worse and worse.
It is getting crazy. This year, the WWE too, I was really happy to see that we went more international with a lot of our pay-per-views this year.
Absolutely.
And which
Backlash
I love.
Backlash in France was still my pick for pay-per-view of the year, even though WrestleMania Day 2 was still friggin' amazing. I just felt, the energy.
We went all over the world.
Crowd.
We Clash at the Castle. We had, Elimination Chamber from Australia. We had Bash, and we went to Berlin, which WWE has not been there in like forever, which was crazy to think about. And then just looking at this upcoming year, Elimination Chamber is going to be in Canada. I'm pretty sure we're going to go international for a bunch of other shows. It was also fun to watch, Elimination Chamber be in Perth, Australia, with WWE like debuting in Australia this year.
Yeah.
It was
smart.
Also
Triple H decided to play Risk with the world, right? And go to all these places, whereas the previous regime was sort of, let's make money consolidating. All right, maybe go to Saudi Arabia. Triple H was like, no, we got all these other places. We're going to lose. Let's play this international market, which has been smart for him. Yeah.
Well, of course. And then, the rumor is, and it's mostly just been, Rey Mysterio wanting to be a proponent for this. But if Backlash is going to be a pay-per-view that's always in a different international city, there's rumors talking about Backlash this in 2025, maybe being from Mexico, which would be amazing. Yeah. Listen,
where Mexico?
Like, that's a good question. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in Mexico City or even like more centralized. But let me tell you, wrestling fans in Mexico are just as crazy and passionate like the Puerto Rican fans are. Oh, yeah. And as we saw when Backlash was in Puerto Rico 2 years ago, I want to see WWE go to have a pay-per-view in Mexico, which would be great.
See, Mexico City would be hard to get to because it's just hard to get to because it's on a mountain and there's millions and millions of people in the streets. But if it was in like, it's impossible. But if they had it down in Ensenada or something, we'd have to make that happen.
Honestly, if it is in Ensenada, I kid you not, Professor, if you can find your way out to me, because it's only 4 hours in the car between where I live and Ensenada, we're going on a road trip. We're going to Mexico.
4 hours, man. That would be. I don't know if they got a stadium big enough. I mean, they should. I bet they do.
There is a giant stadium in Ensenada where it possibly could happen. I don't know. That's just a thought. I'm not saying that WWE is going to Mexico, but
would want WWE, a big.
Yeah. But there are big arenas in Ensenada that they could pick from. And I'm just saying, it is only 4 hours car ride between here and Ensenada.
Go cause some shit. That'd be amazing.
Let's go. We're going international, y'all. But then I think the biggest thing, too, was the fact that, this year, John Cena announced that in 2025, he's retiring from in-ring competition, which I'm like, oh my God, this is actually happening.
Which I thought we would have more guidepost plot lines with that. He kind of announced it, and then we didn't see him again.
So, and I think we're probably going to see that officially kick off because it is announced that he's going to be at Rumble and Elimination Chamber. And obviously, he's probably going to have a match at Mania. So, we're getting all into that. So,
well, yeah, that would be 3 matches in 5 months if that timed out that way, right?
Right. And for me, I'm just like, wow, this is we're in the final chapter, and this is going to mark an end of an era for one of WWE's current iconic superstars. You know, we still got Randy and all that, but I'm like, damn, John Cena's about to retire. You're muted.
If you're looking at the wrestlers that have ties to the last 15, 20 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're slowly seeing that generation change, right? Because it would be John Cena, AJ's slowly disappearing. Yeah. I mean, it's getting hard to. I mean, Rey Mysterio will live forever, but yeah,
stem cells.
There's a few exactly if you're under 5'5" and you're taking stem cells, you're gonna live forever,
right?
There's a few, but like you said, right? John Cena is kind of the last of the big marquee. Like, yeah, it's fading.
So when he retires, me and Mitty and probably Professor, I don't know, Mitty for sure will definitely cry. I might cry. I was like, damn, like 25 plus years.
It's a lot, yeah. I wasn't watching wrestling the first 10 of his career, but
still,
I will massive respect and feel it for all of that. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Professor, that is going to be it for us here at Dual Dynasty, and this is the last one in 2024.
I thought we had one more. Don't we got to review this again? Or we're not reviewing the last few?
There's one more review tomorrow, which I'll get into a little bit, and then we are going completely dark for the holidays.
Oh, we're dark. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So after tomorrow, there will be nothing for the rest of the week. And then the only other thing happening next week, so next Monday is going to be AEW World's End review on the 30th. And then we also continue to go dark for New Year's Eve day, and then just the rest of winter break. And then we come back strong the following week because we have Stardom, which we're Stardom's first show of the year, which we're picking up Stardom for 2025, which makes me super excited. Love me some women's Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And we're also covering Wrestle Kingdom for New Japan, and then the big old crossover show with Wrestle Dynasty, which is AEW, CMLL, Ring of Honor, Stardom, and New Japan.
So did you, not to invoke other promotions or other channels or whatnot, but I'm just going to because I love them. What Culture did their end of the year wrap, and they said what are the top promotions, and they pulled their audience and everything else. And it was something like 75% said WWE, and then 15% said AEW, but 1.89% said CMLL.
CMLL,
they're on the board. Yeah,
I love CMLL, but I'm gonna let you know right now, Adolfo is our ride or die for CMLL, which I'll tell you more afterwards. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it off camera, but. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning into those who are watching this episode. As I mentioned, the only thing we got going on this week is tomorrow. Myself and Jesse will be here tomorrow evening to cover Ring of Honor Final Battle pay-per-view review. So me and Andrew did the watch along on Friday, and Jesse and I are going to be doing the review tomorrow. And this is the last Ring of Honor thing that we are doing for 2024. And for the foreseeable future, as we announced previously, that Ring of Honor is not being renewed for 2025. So, but I'm excited.
We're not doing it?
No, I'll tell. We'll talk about it off camera. Yeah, wow, I got a lot to fill you in on because there's lots of things that are changing in a good way. I feel
like we've talked about that, but nobody likes to.
I know your brain has been fried from being a professor and theater person. Like, I'll fill you in on everything that's happened.
That's fair.
Oh my goodness. But that's going to be it for us here at Dual Dynasty. We will be back with Dual Dynasty on January 5th. So this is the day before the Monday Night Raw on Netflix premiere. So what better way to get ready for that than to cover the past week of WWE shows leading into that. So I'm excited to do that. But from myself and the professor and the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will see you tomorrow for Final Battle review. But until then, sayonara, adios, and take care of yourselves today.